Let's go to the hotline. Let's bring in the head coach of the 9-0 Abilene Cooper Cougars. We're joined by Coach Aaron Roan on the hotline. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well.
How are things out?
Doing well.
How are things out in the big country?
Oh, they're good. Sun's shining today, and so it's a beautiful day today.
Uh, you guys are on your idle week or your open week after a 9-0 start. You're in your second year there at Cooper. Last year 6-6. This year, obviously, off to an unbelievable start for you guys. In your mind, what has been the biggest difference between last year and this year?
Um, I think we've got a good group of seniors. Good senior leadership has been a big factor, I think, for us. Guys that have continued to buy into what we do and what we want to be about. And are focused on team chemistry a lot in the off season and those types of things. And we're fortunate that we're playing some decent football.
Is there a moment? Has there been a moment this year, or maybe a particular game that you came out of it and you thought, man, maybe we do have something special here? Has there been that kind of moment, or has it been this kind of thing that you've known from the start?
We felt good, throughout the off season. We had a young group last year, so we've got a lot of returners back, guys with varsity experience, and maybe not starters, but just some playing time, quality reps on a Friday night. But we had some adversity really in week one against Keller. Keller was a really good football team. They've shown that, and kids battled and came away with a 1 point win. Just kind of found a way, and that was something that was real pleasing to see. Just some kind of grind it out and continue to play that maybe we had in the past, and thought that we're on the right track.
We're talking to Aaron Roan, the head coach of the Abilene Cooper Cougars here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at hashtag TF Today. Coach, there's been major improvement for you guys really on both sides of the ball, but the defense really strikes me as an area where you guys have really stepped up and become better this year. What have you seen from the defense this year that has you guys cooking so far?
What's really been good for us to see as coaches is, our defensive kids really taking coaching. They soak it in. They're very coachable. Our coaching staff does a good job of working with them, and really the eagerness of our defensive kids to take those coaching points and then put them into action. Has been real good to see. Been opportunistic, getting turnovers, and those those things are always good when you can win the turnover battle. We've been fortunate to do that, but just the way that they're able to execute what our game plans and adjustments that maybe we have to make throughout the course of the game, and they're able to put it into play.
Well, and one of those guys on the defensive side that it seems like we're calling his name every week is Dylan Davis, your outstanding defensive back. We knew that this was a guy you were excited about, but he had 2 interceptions last year. It's a nice year for a junior year. He's got 12 on the year right now. That's good coaching, Coach. Way to go! I'm sure that's all you, right?
Yeah, I wish it was, but shoot, he's an extremely hard worker. I mean, he's one of those that every coach loves to coach. He listens to coaching. He works extremely hard. He puts himself in good situations, and then he knows what to do and break on the football. He's fun. He's a fun kid to coach. As our senior, I can't say our senior class is good. There's a really good group of kids that are fun to coach. But Dylan's he's a 3-year varsity player, and he played every defensive back position last year. We had a lot of injuries, so he was kind of the guy that we had to move around quite a bit. And I think that doing that, he's really learned quite a bit. And put that into play this year.
On the offensive side, it's hard not to look at the eye-popping numbers of Noah Garcia and what he's been able to do for you guys. The numbers are overwhelming, but you're the guy who gets to see him every day in practice. What is it about your running back Noah Garcia that you would say makes him special?
He knows what to do when the ball's in his hands. He's very patient. That's one thing that I've been real impressed watching him is his patience that he has back there. He allows the big boys up front to do their thing, and he doesn't rush it. He lets it develop, and then when he finds a hole, he can stick it and go. And so that's one thing that I've been real pleased to see is him progress. He showed us some things last year. And he's worked extremely hard in the off season, developed a little bit more speed. But his patience back there is just one thing that I think kind of sets him apart.
The other guy is Aiden Thompson, your quarterback there, and a guy who I know, last year as a sophomore had solid numbers and was a solid quarterback for you guys. But it seems like he's really improved as a junior. He's made that step. What have you seen? How do you think he's grown as a signal caller for you guys?
He's done a really good job of progressing from his sophomore year to his junior year. Does a really good job managing our offense, taking what's given to us. And one thing that he's done a good job of that I've been pleased with is limiting his mistakes and turnovers. He had a few too many last year, and that was one thing that he'd admit that he did too much of, maybe forcing some things last year. But he's progressed to that. Takes what the defense gives us, and has been very efficient.
You guys are in your open week. There's no game tonight, no game tomorrow. What are you guys looking to do? What do you guys want to accomplish in this open week?
What we've been using this as a good opportunity to continue to get better at what we do. We do some good on good stuff where we can get fast reps is what we really want. Speed on speed and those types of things. And sometimes kind of get back to some techniques that maybe not get overlooked, but depending on game planning and those types of things, you may not need that week or not really have, but to just kind of hone in on some things that we could use in the future to make sure that they're still on our kids' mind and we're fresh and we're sharp, in that area. But what we've really been focusing is just speed on speed stuff.
But there's still one more on the horizon. After next week is potentially, a huge game. It'll be at least for a share of the district title, depending on what happens when Amarillo plays Lubbock. But you guys draw Amarillo up at Dick Bivens Stadium for what looks like it's going to be the District 2 5A Division I championship game next week. I don't want to ask you to give away your game plan, but I know you've been poring over film for Amarillo. When you take a look at what you guys are going to be up against next Friday, what do you see?
I think it's going to be a real tough competitive matchup. Amarillo High is playing really well right now. Coach Dunham and his staff, they do a really good job of getting their kids prepared and having kids play at an extremely high level. And so they're very physical. They play fast. I think it's going to be a tough competitive matchup, which, when you get to this point in the year, that's how they should be.
No, absolutely. They certainly should be that way. And I want to ask you a little bit as we kind of wrap up here. I want to ask you a little bit about how you've kind of grown into this role. You're here at this second year with the Cougars as the head coach. How do you think you've changed as a head coach? Maybe as you enter game number 12 plus 9, 22 next week.
Well, that was, I think, the first thing that I talked with our coaching staff at the end of last year. I said, we've got a lot of room for improvement, and the one that can improve the most is me. I've learned a lot over the course of last season and going into this season, but just managing things, I think, more comfortable with, kind of no different than our kids with with not a whole lot of experience. When you have a little bit more experience, you have a little more, you feel more comfortable, if that makes any sense. And so I kind of told them I was right in the same boat y'all were at. But, just our coaching staff does a great job preparing. And, I think I feel like I can lean on those guys and, be able to manage things on both sides of the football. Maybe a little bit better than I was able to do last year. But, it's a fun coaching staff. It's a fun group of kids that we have here. They work extremely hard, do what we ask them to do. And so it's been a lot of fun.
He's Aaron Roan. He's the head coach of the 9-0 Abilene Cooper Cougars. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the fantastic start. Enjoy the open week as much as you can, and then best luck next week against Amarillo.
Thanks. Thank you all. I appreciate y'all having me.
There he goes, Aaron Roan, the head coach. The Abilene Cooper Cougars joining us here on Texas Football Today. Really remarkable turnaround for them. 6-6 last year. This is a program that 9-10 wins is the standard. That's where they want to be. I mean, this is you go back to those 90s and 2000s, early 2000s Cooper teams, and they were really cooking. This is a program that is, of course, has a lot of pedigree out there in the big country. It's cool to see them back, and I mentioned to him that Amarillo does play Lubbock this week. Amarillo will be sizable favorites against Lubbock this week. And if they set that up, then it is head-to-head district championship on the line, plain and simple.
He said when he picked up the phone, he goes, man, y'all must have been really scrounging for coaches this week. And I was like, Coach, you're 9-0, man.
You're undefeated. Yeah, you're undefeated.
It was awesome.
Undefeated on an open week. You're probably a little bit less stressed than you are right now than you would be if you had a game tomorrow. So, yeah, of course we've had a Coach Roan on. It's been a long time coming, but we appreciate him taking a little bit of time for us.